Friends, welcome to our today's class. This is our third class on auditing and assurance. In our previous two classes, we have discussed, in fact, I had introduced you to the topic. We have understood what is audit, what is assurance, and some related things also we have discussed. Today we'll be entering little deep into the subject of auditing. I am going to share the screen with you right now. Just tell me if screen is visible.
Yes.
Are you seeing the screen? Yeah, I think screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Uh, just a minute. So this particular subject in auditing, first part will be covering about nature, scope, objective, all these things we'll be learning in auditing. And previous class we had broadly discussed what is called as the nature of auditing. Right. In that context, we have already understood what is audit. Right. Can you tell me at this stage, can you explain me what you have understood by the term audit, or what kind of audit we are referring to in this subject? What is this exactly? Anyone can explain? Can anyone explain me? Your understanding on this subject? Yeah.
So inspection of the books of
Yeah.
accounts.
So one thing you are saying about inspection. Yeah, it's kind of something like not exactly inspection. Here, what we do, we examine. As you say, we examine. Examine. Is it books of account? Can you improve that thing?
So we examine the financial statement
Yeah,
provided
that
by the
now this
organization.
now you are using a better term. We examine the financial statements. Okay, why we examine this financial statement? Who can tell me? Meaning, I'm asking you what is the objective of audit? Why
To
I'm
check
examining?
the accuracy of the financial statements and may suggest a better way of
Okay, you know the
financing.
accuracy to suggest a better way. Okay, these are okay, answers are okay, but these are little generalized answer. There is a
So to
specific
see
answer.
that,
You
sir, to see that they have all the documented records,
okay?
like
This
they
this
have
is
all the
again one of the
documents.
incidental reason, but the main reason is what?
So to identify the possible irregularities in the.
Okay, that's again one of the incidental or ancillary reason you are talking about. In the previous class, what we have discussed that okay, financial statements needs to be examined with the intention of what? The intention is to express an opinion, is it not? And the opinion is about whether the financial statement shows a true and fair view or not. And in order to express that opinion, then of course we have to examine the books of account, etc. We verify the books of account. Why we verify? We compare this financial statement with books of account and related supported documents. But auditor is expressing an opinion on books of account. Is it not? Okay. And we have also understood there is one more service which is called the assurance service. Right. Have you remembered what is assurance service? Who can tell me how it is different?
Sir, it's a professional service which aims to improving the quality and transparency of the information.
Yeah, here maybe informations are verified. What else? Anything else? Well, I'll then let me show you the previous slides. Okay. In this slide, we had discussed about what is audit and what is assurance. Audit, when referred to audit, we mean the evaluating the financial statement. And when we talk about assurance, this is about analyzing, right? Analyzing the accounting entries, analyzing the financial records with an intention to verify those documents. Okay, so that is the difference between audit and assurance. So I was talking about two things we have understood: what is audit and what is assurance. And when coming to audit, we audit the financial statements. Is it not? When we are talking about audit, what we are auditing? We are auditing the financial statements, right? And these financial statements are of 5 types generally, or you can say by and large there are 5 kinds of financial statement. I think most of you must be knowing that. Can you tell me what are these 5 types of financial statement? Who can tell me? Make some attempt. Yeah, can you tell me?
So statement of cash flow.
Okay, cash flow statement. That is one. But the first one, let us go in a sequence.
So
Okay,
balance sheet.
balance sheet,
So income statements.
income statement, or statement of profit and loss.
So
Third one,
cash flow.
as your friend
Cash
said,
flow.
cash flow statement. 3.
So statements of shareholders and equity.
That is statement of changes in equity. 4th, and the 5th one is explanatory notes. So these are the 5 kinds of financial statements auditor evaluates or auditor examines with an intention to express an opinion. And all these financial statements, different financial statements are prepared for different purposes. Is it not? The purposes are different for these kind of financial statements. And we also know it is the responsibility of the management to prepare the financial statement. It is not the auditor's responsibility to see that financial statements are properly prepared. It is management's responsibility to prepare the financial statement. And when these financial statements are prepared, management has to ensure that these financial statements are prepared in accordance with financial reporting framework. Right? It has to be prepared in accordance with financial reporting framework. So in this context, in our previous class, we have also understood what is the meaning of financial reporting framework. Is it done? What is this financial reporting framework? They are in fact a set of criteria. So I was explaining you may understand it something like this. These are the set of rules and regulations according to which the financial statements needs to be prepared. Right. So this set of criteria is followed, or this set of criteria which are called as financial reporting framework are used for these things to ensure that the items of the financial statements are properly recognized, properly measured, properly presented, and properly disclosed. Right. The financial reporting framework takes care of all these things. Are you understanding up to this? For example, let us say Companies Act says that the financial statements has to prepare in a particular format. So that has to be followed. Maybe for different companies, let us say maybe it's a power generation company, the financial statement has to be prepared in a different format. Or let us say it is a banking company where the financial statement has to be prepared in a different format. So all these laws which prescribes this kind of formats, they form a part of financial reporting framework. Is it done? Maybe some other rules and regulations specifies that a particular item has to be presented in a particular manner. So that also forms a part of financial reporting framework. So the entire set of criteria is referred to as financial reporting framework. Are you understanding what is financial reporting framework?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is important for us. So here we have to conclude that these financial statements have different objectives. Different financial statement has different objective, and it is the management's responsibility to prepare this financial statement according to financial reporting framework. Right? Okay. And when it is prepared, now it is handed over to the auditor. Auditor conducts an independent examination. Right? Auditor independently examines that thing for a stated objective. Objective is that he has to express an opinion. Okay. So auditor has to examine this financial statement with a view to express an opinion. Right? Now, how he can express an opinion? So this list of things I had explained you in your previous class. Again, I am showing you. Financial statement, contains various items. Is it not? Can you give me some example of any item in a financial statement? These are some of the items which are contained in the financial statement. Can you give me any example? In any financial statement that may be appearing in the
All
balance sheet.
the assets of the companies, the
Sorry?
liabilities,
Maybe any example of an asset or
the land
liability.
and building or plant and
Let us say
machinery.
land and building. Let us say land and building. Okay. So the company or that organization has prepared the financial statement according to the financial reporting framework. There it shows that there is an item called as land and building. Let us say it says land and building 1.5 crore. Okay, and auditor has to independently examine that financial statement. How will examine? So these are the, you can say, steps, not exactly steps. These are the things he has to do. First, the moment auditor sees that there is a land and building worth 1.5 crore, he perceives something. So what are his perceptions? At that point of time, his perception is that the company owns this land and building. And this land and building are actually existing. And this company is the owner. And this land and building are used for business purposes. Okay, so these kind of perceptions coming to his mind. Is it right? Then he recognizes that item. Okay, this is land and building. And when this is presented in this financial statement, these are my perceptions. So once I am recognizing that perception, or the auditor recognizes, or auditor, let us say, lists out his perceptions, then he tries to collect evidences to justify that thing. He may ask, okay, show me the land records or show me the building records so that I can see this is actually this particular land and building belongs to the company. Or he may say, let me physically verify whether land and building is there or not. So through these means or through these techniques, he collects certain evidences. Once evidences are collected, he evaluates those evidences. Whether these evidences are shown to him are genuine evidences or not. He may cross verify. Okay, he may cross verify actually they are true or not. Then on the basis of that verification, he forms a judgment. He judges actually the land and building which is shown in the financial statement, whether the value is correct, whether proper disclosures are made or not. If he's satisfied, he communicates. If he's not satisfied, then also he communicates. Right? He communicates to the members of the company that you see this financial statement, this item shows true and fair view, or it does not show true and fair. So you can say this is a kind of process which is followed. Auditor has to perceive something. Auditor has to recognize his perception. Then he has to collect evidence. He has to evaluate the evidences. Then he has to form a judgment and he has to communicate his opinion. Okay? Are you understanding? And in order to do all these things, how he can do it? Detailed process is there. He has to compare the financial statement with books. Right? Compare the financial statement with the books. Each items of the financial statement has to be compared with the books of account to ensure that they are matching. Okay. Right. And the books figures has to be compared with supporting documents like vouchers. He has to also see that items are properly classified, properly presented. Items are presented in a clear and unambiguous manner. And the overall financial statement shows a true and fair view. Okay, so this is the process of auditing. You can say these are the things we have to remember, or we need to understand that these are the various kinds of activities which are related to the auditing. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in the previous class, I was explaining you the process in detail. That auditor has to express an opinion. Okay, how he has to express opinion? He has to satisfy these points that the financial statement has been drawn up with reference to books of account. Now, friends, tell me how we can ensure that the financial statement, what is there, these figures are exactly matching with books of account. What you will do? What kind of procedure you will be following to ensure that the financial statement figure and the books of account figure are same? Can anyone
by
tell me?
taking it manually with the books of accounts.
Yes, you can do that. Is it not? So one thing is that you can manually check every ledger, you can see, compare it with the financial statements item. Or you can generate a trial balance where all the summary of ledger balances will be there, you can match it. Is it not? If you're sure that trial balance is properly generated, then you can compare it with the trial balance. Trial balance figures can also be compared with the books of account. This is how you do, right? You can find in most of the audit, you find this is one of the auditing activities, that the financial statements are compared with books of account, right? Secondly, auditor has to also to ensure that entries in the books of account are adequately supported. How can you do it? Tell me, suggest some ways that how you can see that the entries in the books of account are adequately supported by underlying papers and documents.
So
What else?
by checking with the vouchers or
Yeah,
any
you
document.
will ask, okay, this is an entry, show me the vouchers. Let us say there is an entry, salary paid. You may say, show me the salary voucher, show me the salary register. Okay, so I will compare it with the attendance. Let us say how many people are there, how much entries, how many entries are there in the salary register, and how much salary is paid. You can cross, you can check the salary calculations also. Is it done? Through these means, you can satisfy yourself. Suppose you are saying one item is purchase. So you can compare, you can say, show me the bill where it has been purchased. You must cross check with purchase register. You must again see, okay, when goods are entered into the premises of the company, there must be entry in the gate. Okay, goods receipt note might be there, gate pass or gate entries must be there. So like this, after understanding the system followed in the organization, you can ask for various kinds of documents in order to support the entries which are made in the books of account. Understood this process?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now again, you have to ensure that none of the entries in the books of account has been omitted. How can you do it? None of the entries in the books of account is omitted, and nothing which is not in the books of account has found place in financial statement. How can you ensure this? Can you suggest me some way? Okay, through this process, I will be ensuring that nothing
By
is.
checking with the trial balance.
Yeah. Suppose you are sent to an audit, to do an particular audit, and you have compared the financial statement figures in books of account and books of account figures with supporting documents. But the now question is that how will ensure that nothing which is contained in the books of account has been omitted, and nothing and which is not in the books of account has been entered in the financial statement. How can you ensure that? When you are matching these figures, or you are ticking up these figures, if some amounts in the books of accounts are unticked, that means these are the amounts which are not considered in the financial statement. Or some figures in the financial statements are unticked, that means these are the figures which are not there in the books of account but still appearing in the financial statement. This is how we can find it out. Okay. Now again, you have to ensure that the financial statement contains information in a clear and unambiguous manner. Okay, you have to see that the way financial statement is prepared, it should be normally understandable. It should not carry something which a stakeholder will fail to understand. Financial statement amounts are properly classified, described, and in conformity with accounting standards. Accounting standards, you must have studied some of the accounting standards. You know, some items needs to be classified in a particular manner, described and presented in a particular manner. That aspect also you have to ensure. Okay, certain items need certain disclosure. Not only accounting standards, sometimes law also prescribes that these things should be presented in a particular manner. And the statement of accounts as an integrated whole should show the true and fair picture. Okay, true and fair picture should be portrayed by the financial statements. So this is the process we had discussed in our previous class. Okay, to explaining the process, I am showing you some example. Let us say this is a cash book. Have you seen some cash book?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in a computerized cash book, you must have seen. Manual cash books, you might have also seen. Okay, let us say entries are there, opening balance, response, printing and stationery, sales, wages, like this. These items are there. Okay, this has to be verified. So printing and stationery, you may ask for, yeah, this is a credit item. That means it is an expenses. So you have to see the bills, you may ask for the bills. Sales, you may ask for the sales registers, a copy of the sales invoices. Wages, you can ask for the vouchers. And then you have to check these calculations are correct or not. Like this, cash book can be verified. Company prepare various kinds of vouchers. You can refer to the vouchers, right? In vouchers, voucher is basically an entry, accounting entries recorded in this piece of paper called as vouchers, right? Since cash has been paid, here entry is printing and stationery debit to cash. These vouchers can be verified. You can see the supporting bills also, right? Suppose some expenditure has been incurred, you may ask for show me the bill. So bills can also be verified. Some other expenditures, you may find different kind of bills from different suppliers that can be verified. Some cases, money receipts will be available. You can refer to money receipts and ensure that this particular amount has been paid or not. So these are various kinds of supporting documents you have to see. Okay. So in a real life, when you do the auditing, you can see many supporting documents like this. Did you understand up to this? This is basically the very basic process of auditing. Okay, so let us say if you go for auditing for any organization, you might be given a computerized cash book. Okay, so where you can find out what are the entries, or various computerized ledgers will be there, or you might be getting a manual book like this. Manual books are rare nowadays. I am showing you some examples. You see, this is an example of a manual cash book. You can see small organization, you can find out manual cash books like this. Are you able to see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this kind of cash books are prepared, different organizations, and vouchers, etc. They prepare. I'm showing you some vouchers here. You can refer to. You see, practically you can see some of the vouchers. And vouchers are supported. You see different kind of supports are there for various kinds of expenditures. Are you able to see this? So on the basis of supports, vouchers are prepared. Okay. So on the basis of this support, vouchers are prepared. Somebody prepares it, somebody approves it, and somebody enters it in the financial books. Right. Then on the basis of financial books, financial statements are prepared. Right. What auditor does, auditor checks all these things, verifies these amounts are correct or not. Okay. So vouchers are compared with the this thing supporting documents, and vouchers are also compared with the books of record. Okay, this is the initially when somebody is trained an auditing profession. So this is the activity which is given to him, that you do vouching. Vouching means verify the vouchers. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we'll come to objectives of audit. The nature of audit, I think you have already understood. What is the nature of audit? What are the activities involved there? How what are the related activities which are involved in the auditing? All these things I think you have understood. Okay. Now coming to objectives of audit. The basic objective is to express opinion on the financial statements. Right? You have to express an opinion. I had shared with you some of the audit reports. You must have seen. The report is about an opinion. Here, auditor expresses an opinion. Is it not? Whether the financial statement shows true and fair view. Okay. Have you received the audit reports?
Yes, sir. We received in.
Yeah. So it contains an opinion or not? Any audit report you can see. Any company's audit report you can refer to. You can find it contains an opinion. Right. It contains an opinion. And this is the basic objective. And this objective does not change with nature, size, and form of an entity. That means, irrespective of the nature, size, and form of an entity, this objective remains unchanged. Whether it's a partnership firm or a company or a cooperative society, whether it's a small company or big company, whether it's a profit-making company or not for profit company, it doesn't matter. Objective is to express an opinion. Okay, so this is, you can say, this part is authoritative in nature. We talk about objective. Objectives cannot change, right? And one more thing we have to cover. One need to understand. This objective covers financial information only. That means auditor has to express opinion on the financial information. About non-financial things, auditor is not expected to give an opinion, right? Okay, whether their HR management is proper or not, auditor is not supposed to express an opinion. Auditor has to give an opinion on the financial statement, that too only on financial information. Okay, did you understand? Hereafter, if someone is asking you what is the objective of audit, you must say objective is to express an opinion on the financial statements. And this objective is not changeable. And this objective covers only financial information. It should not be extended to non-financial activities. Right? And friends, there are some auditing standards or standards on auditing. We'll be learning what kind of standards, what are the standards subsequent. I'm referring to one particular standard right now that is called as SA 200. The title of the standard is Overall Objective of an Independent Auditor. Right. So this standard states that in conducting audit of the financial statement, the overall objective of the audits are, first of all, one, to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements, and to report on the financial statements and communicate as required by SS in accordance with auditor's finding. We need to understand these 2 points. Okay, so what is the overall objective? To obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free from material misstatements. Financial statement will show true and fair view only when there is no material misstatement, meaning there may be some misstatements, but that should not be material enough, or you can say big enough to distort the truth and fairness of the financial statement. Okay, so auditors should get a reasonable assurance that here is the financial statement, it does not contain any material misstatement. Okay, in order to get that thing, he may follow various audit procedures, follow various audit techniques, but ultimately he has to get an assurance that the financial statements are true and fair. How it will be true and fair? Only when they're free from material misstatements. And to report on the financial statement, an auditor has to express that thing, report, and communicate as required by the standards of auditing in accordance with auditor's finding. So once auditor forms an opinion, he has to communicate. He has to communicate it in different forms, depending upon his finding. Sometimes auditors gives qualified opinion. Sometimes auditor gives unqualified opinion. That means clean opinion. Sometimes auditor gives a disclaimer. Right? It depends. Okay. Sometimes auditor also gives an adverse opinion. It depends. So depending upon the situation, depending upon the auditor's finding, auditors may issue various kinds of opinion. Are you understanding this? Or you are finding it little technical?
No, sir, it's okay.
It's okay, no? So
Yes,
auditor has to ensure that he is getting a reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material statement. Once he knows that these financial statements are like this, then what he will do? He has to express an opinion. and different kinds of opinions are there. I'll be explaining you subsequently. When everything is okay, he has to give a clean opinion, right? Clean opinion, we'll be calling it as what? Unqualified opinion. Unqualified opinion. That means clean opinion, that the financial statement shows true and fair view. Okay, some of the audit reports you must have seen by this time. So if you see it's a clean opinion, that we'll call it as unqualified opinion. Sometimes auditors find that it is more or less financial statements are true and fair view, but there are some few issues are there. So auditor may give a qualified opinion. Auditor says subject to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, financial statement shows true and fair. Okay, that is called as qualified opinion. It depends upon auditor's finding, right? Unqualified opinion, qualified opinion. Sometimes auditors may feel that financial statement does not show true and fair view. So what kind of report you will give? Some of you might be knowing.
Sir, adverse.
Adverse auditor feels that the financial statement doesn't show true and fair view. He has to give an adverse report. At sometimes situation is such that maybe there is some restriction on the scope of the audit, or maybe auditor is not getting adequate documents. Auditor is unable to form an opinion. Auditor will communicate an opinion only when he forms an opinion. Auditor is unable to form an opinion. In that case, what the auditor has to do? He can still issue a report. We'll call it a disclaimer of opinion. That means auditor disclaims. He's unable to form an opinion. He disclaims that thing. Okay. Right? Aim of the audit is to express an opinion, and auditor disclaiming that he is unable to form an opinion. He cannot give an opinion. So these are the 4 kinds of report, or 4 kinds of opinion, you can say. Don't worry at this stage. In subsequently you will be learning the technicalities behind this kind of opinion, in which situation what kind of report will be. So we will be learning subsequently. But at this stage, just understand that depending upon the auditor's finding, auditor may issue this kind of these many kinds of opinions. Okay. Is it clear to you up to this? Yes or no? Objective part is over. Okay. Can anyone, if you respond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we are coming to the third part. So nature you have understood, objective you have understood. Now coming to the scope of audit. Right. We have to learn a list of points under this scope. First of all, audit should be organized in such a way that it covers all aspects of the financial statements. Right. 5 kinds of financial statements are there. They contains various items. Right. Some of the examples are, let us say, financial statement contains current asset, non-current assets, let's say current liabilities, non-current liabilities, equities, right? Revenue from operation, miscellaneous income, various kinds of operating expenses, non-operating expenses. Is it not? Operating cash flow, investment cash flow, like this. Various aspects are there. Various aspects are there in the financial statement. So all these aspects needs to be covered. How auditor will organize? Auditor develops a program in such a way that all these aspects are addressed. Okay. All aspects of the enterprise relevant to the financial statements are audited. Suppose purchase item is there. So purchase aspect needs to be audited. Sales are there. So sales figures needs to be audited. Every figure has to be audited. Okay. Then auditor needs to be reasonably satisfied whether the information contained in the accounting records are reliable and sufficient as the basis for preparation of financial statements. Financial statements are prepared on the basis of accounting records, right? Accounting records and other source of data. So auditor satisfies himself whether these financial statements are reliable and sufficient or not. So by verifying, by examining all these records, he satisfies, okay, financial statements are showing true view. Fine. Let us auditor checks the salary register or attendance register. He finds out there are only 50 employees. Okay. Attendance register shows 50 employees, but attendance voucher, let us say salary voucher shows for 60 employees. That means these accounting records may not be reliable. And financial statements are prepared on the basis of this basis of this accounting records. Is it not? So auditor's finding is in this case is negative. Auditor is not satisfied. Auditor has to satisfy himself and he has to form an opinion whether these figures are true and fair or not. Therefore, he needs to conduct various kinds of tests. Then one more thing, auditors should also decide whether the relevant information is properly disclosed in the financial statements. Some of you must be aware of requirement of various accounting standards or requirement of the laws. There are several items which needs to be disclosed in a particular manner. The other day I was explaining you, the moment you are saying cash and cash equivalent in the financial statement, if it is mentioned, you have to explain the composition, what it consists of. Let us say you are paying auditor's fee, you have to disclose what are the components of this audit fee. Right? Like this, various disclosure requirements are there. So auditor needs to ensure that these disclosure requirements are complied with, things are properly disclosed. And auditor also need to assess the reliability and sufficiency of the information contained in the accounting records. Whether the information is reliable, meaning it is perfect. Quality of the information is good. And it is sufficient. Sufficient means quantity is also sufficient to form an opinion. Okay, auditor assesses the reliability and sufficiency of information. Information should be complete. Okay, how auditor will ensure that the information is reliable and sufficient? By making a study and evaluation of accounting system and internal controls. So auditor needs to study the accounting system. What is the process of accounting system and what kind of controls are there? Let us say a voucher has to be passed. I was showing you some voucher of some organization. Yeah. Let us say voucher shows at least 3 persons should sign it. That means person who is preparing, person who is approving, who is making entry. If 3 signatures are there, that ensure it is a kind of internal control. So voucher is entered means 3 people have at least checked that voucher. Is it not? So auditor needs to study their effectiveness of internal control. But if you see vouchers are entered but signatures are not there, or signatures are missing, that means internal control is not working. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, auditor needs to evaluate the accounting system. What is the process of accounting? How accounting is done? Right? Is it adequate? Is it reliable? Right? Who approves the accounting entries? So auditor evaluates this thing. Okay, and then what auditor does? Auditor may carry out such other tests. Maybe it tests certain things. Such other tests, inquiries, and other verification procedures of accounting transactions and accounting balances. Right? He may check certain calculations. He may inquire how it has happened. This entry, this payment you have made, but how it has happened. Okay, let us say you have purchased a computer at this much of price. Auditor may inquire, but normal price is less than that. How you have purchased a computer at this much of price? You can inquire. You may ask the organization, show me the quotations on what basis you have taken this decision. Right? Other verification procedure. It may cross check. It may cross check. Maybe from some other sources collects information. Okay, so these are certain kind of procedures that auditor follows. to verify that accounting transactions are reliable or not. Auditor also applies certain tests for the balances. Balances means these figures which appear in the balance sheet. Let us say Sunday data is showing this month. Auditor may ask for a balance confirmation certificate. Cash balance is this month. Auditor may go for a physical verification of cash. Or furniture and fixture. Auditor may conduct a physical verification. Right? Through this process, auditor ensures that the financial data is reliable and sufficient. Understood this point? Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, auditor also ensures that the relevant information is properly disclosed in the financial statement. How will ensure that thing? Compare the financial statement with underlying accounting records and source data. Auditor compares and see that things are properly disclosed. And considering the judgment that management made in preparing financial statements. And accordingly, auditor assesses the selection and consistent application of accounting policy, the manner in which information is classified and adequacy of disclosure. So first thing you have to see, auditor need to ensure that things which are required to be disclosed are in fact disclosed. So for that thing, what he has to do is compare the information which are contained in the financial statements with underlying data. And you know, in many cases, accounting involves judgment. Okay, judgment areas are there. For example, let us say how much you have to provide as provision for bad debt. It is a judgment. Maybe 10% of the data, maybe 15% of the data, maybe 8%. It's a judgment area. Okay, so auditor needs to consider whether these judgments are okay or not. Judgments are acceptable or not. Let us say life of the asset on the basis of which depreciation has to be computed. Life of the asset is again an estimate or judgment area. Is it not? So whether the basis of judgment or basis of this kind of estimates are consistent. If it is inconsistent, let's say 1 year company is estimating in a particular manner, next year it is estimating in a different manner, or accounting policies are changing from year to year. This year company is recognizing revenue by following a particular method. Next year it is changing the method of recognition of revenue. Accounting policies are changing. So these are certain indications that the financial statements may not be showing true and fair view. Okay, so if these kind of changes are made, what is the reason for that? Whether adequate disclosures are made, that auditor needs to ensure. Okay, did you understand?
Yes, sir.
And one more thing, auditor need not, or auditor is not expected to go outside the scope of his competence. Auditor is an expert in the related field. In the finance auditing area, auditor is expert. But auditor is not expected to give an opinion in some technical issues. Okay, that is outside his scope of competence. Fine. Let us say auditor is physically verifying something. Take an example. Suppose you are visiting a factory, you are physically verifying the stock of coal. You can verify, you can measure the coal quantity, you can say this is the coal. But it is not expected. Let us say some of them are not actually coal or a very poor quality coal, or it is a black color stone, looks like coal. You do not have, or auditor doesn't have competence on that area, technical competence to recognize what is coal, what is not a coal. It may not be. Is it done? So that is not expected of the auditor. Nobody can expect that auditor should have given opinion on that. That is beyond his technical expertise. If management is saying it is coal and it appears reasonably, it is coal, then auditor may safely accept that thing. It is a coal. Okay, understood.
Yes, sir.
Now, constraint and the scope of the audit may invite qualified opinion or disclaimer opinion. If management puts some constraint on the scope, let's say auditors should design his audit in such a way that all the let us say all the aspects of the financial statements are covered. But let us say there are certain constraints. The management says, okay, I will not show you anything on this part. I will not show you anything. I will not show you GST records. Okay, I will not show you the books of account of that branch. So these are certain constraints. Auditor original plan is that auditor should cover everything, but there are certain constraints. If these kind of constraints are there, that it may lead to a qualified opinion. Auditor may give a qualification that subject to this thing, financial statement shows true and fair view. Or auditor may disclaim that financial statement doesn't give true and fair. Right. So therefore, constraints on the scope of the audit should be avoided by management. There should not be any constraint on the scope of audit. Right. Now, in the scope area, what you will learn, if you summarize, there are around 7 points you have to remember relating to scope of audit. Right. Please read these points, which is showed in the chart one by one. Some of you please read it. I'll be explaining you once again. We are talking about scope of audit. First point.
To cover all aspects.
To cover all aspects. Did you understand this? That means every item, every component of the financial statement needs to be audited. Your audit program should be designed in such a way that every aspects are covered. Then next.
Reliable and sufficient information.
That also you have to ensure as an auditor that the information on the basis of which these financial statements are prepared, they're reliable and sufficient. You may adopt various kinds of audit methods, techniques to ensure that this information is reliable and sufficient. Then
proper disclosure.
So auditor needs to know which items are to be disclosed in what manner. I had already given you some examples. So proper disclosure should have been made in the financial statement. Then
evaluation of accounting system, tests, inquiry, verifications.
So auditor is supposed to evaluate the accounting system. Before conducting the verification, auditor needs to understand what is the accounting system, how transactions are recorded. He may conduct certain tests. Let us say client is saying, or the company is saying, I calculate depreciation under this method or by using this software. So auditor should test whether the software is working or not. Okay, or the entity says my interest calculation is like this. Auditor should test the interest package. Actually, it is calculating correctly or not. Okay, auditor should test. Auditor may conduct certain inquiry if required. If something is doubtful, he can inquire into that to satisfy himself or to form an opinion on the accounting system. Understood this? Next point.
Comparing accounting records with source, considering judgments, policies, classifications, disclosures.
Okay. So accounting records has to be compared with source. Maybe vouchers and other documents at the source document. One can compare. And when management exercises judgment, that also needs to be evaluated whether judgment is correct or not. Accounting policies are consistent or not. Classification is proper or not. And disclosures are wherever required are properly made or not. All these things auditor has to check. Next point.
Not beyond his scope of competence.
Yeah, not beyond the scope of his competence. That auditor has to keep it in his mind that he can do certain things, but within his scope of competence, not beyond his scope of competence. Like let us say some technical things are there, some chemical is there. Auditor cannot give an opinion on that thing. If management says this is this chemical, auditor needs to accept that thing, unless there is prima facie any doubt. Then next point.
Set aside the constraints.
So there should not be any constraint. If there is some constraint on the scope, then it may lead to a disclaimer of opinion or a qualified opinion. So constraints should be removed. Okay. Did you understand up to this scope of audit?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, friends, we'll stop here for the time being. We'll again catch up in the next class shortly. Maybe after 15 minutes, we'll be catching up. We'll continue again how the scope is determined. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll catch up soon.